Hey guys, welcome to eXp Educators. Wow, today is just one of those days we get excited about. Couldn't be happier to sit down with our business partner, Amanda Hurd. Their story is phenomenal and then some. I'd love to tell you all about it, but boy, she's going to tell you a story here that's just phenomenal and fantastic of their journey to eXp and their journey through real estate. Rodney and Amanda in our marketplace are top 10 performers. They are number one nationally, in the top 1% nationally. They do a phenomenal business. They run a well-oiled machine, so well-oiled that they've now been able to spend probably about half a year in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just exciting to have Amanda here today. Amanda, welcome to the channel, and tell us a little bit about your story. Tell the folks a little bit how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So Rodney and I are a husband and wife team, as Chris mentioned, and my journey is definitely different than Rodney's, but I'll fast forward. I've been doing this since '96, so well-versed in different markets, etc. But Rodney and I basically kind of connected as competition first back in 2007, I believe it was, or 2008 at RE/MAX.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So we all have that history together, right? And
yes, we do.
with that, he was new to the industry. I was seasoned. He was out knocking on doors and, just collecting business. But he had no idea what it was that, how to write a purchase agreement, etc. So we had this really odd relationship in the beginning. That was kind of our connection. And who knew we'd be here today, right? Married down the road eventually, and then have created this team in Indy that is just packed with dedicated professionals, and the culture is just, overwhelming some days with the fun that we have and the service heart. So it's just looking back at our journey from the time we met, I can't believe time has passed that quickly, honestly. And to see where we're at now with eXp down the road is amazing. So that journey started out as competition. We then, created a business together and then got married. So we kind of did that backwards.
Yeah. Is there really a right way?
Well, that's true. I guess there is no right or wrong. It's just the path we take, right? So
Sure.
So yeah, that's how we originally met. Fast forward, previously we met at RE/MAX. We've been with Keller Williams. We were with FC Tucker locally here for a short stint. When coming back from South Carolina, Rodney was a team leader in Charleston. That was 2010. And
right.
I had gone down with him to start the commercial division in Keller Williams, Charleston area. Unfortunately for us, they ended up closing all but one office. It was a different time in the market, as many of you know.
Good times.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
that
sarcastic air quotes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, it's true though. It was good times in that, man, if you were making it out of that, awesome, right? You could also have drowned in that time frame, and I think it went on for some time, right? It was crazy.
Yeah, it sure felt like it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and we had many lessons learned from that. I'm glad we did that. We were gone for about 2 years. It was just over 2 years, and decided to, after they closed the offices, just to stay there and hey, let's make this work. I kind of burst Rodney's bubble a little bit because my mother had gotten extremely ill and has since passed, and that's what drove me back here to Indy. So when we came to Indy, and truly we weren't married, we were just, a couple and reinventing ourselves in South Carolina. And I'm like, hey, I'm going home. I'm packing up my car and I'm leaving. You can come with me or not, but this is what I'm doing. I knew I could come back to Indy and hit it quick. With the connections that I had. Now, we had handed off a lot of our past clients, so that was a little tricky.
Sure.
But coming back in, just hit it quick. We were both in debt separately, and broke. Honestly, we had spent every dime and borrowed some. Honestly, too, to try to make everything work in South Carolina, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing it. So as we rolled in, Rodney did come with me.
Yeah, I guess. Wise man.
Obvious at this point. That's something that when you are at your lowest points, and in real estate, clearly there have been others for me. But when you are at your lowest point, broke and in debt, you're very humbled, and there's nowhere to go but up, right?
Sure.
So that was the only way to look at it, and not drown in it. So from there, that was mid 2012. At the end of 2012, Rodney actually joined me. It was fall, I guess, of 2012. And from there, we just started really hitting online leads. We had been doing that previously. We're going to South Carolina and then in South Carolina, but it was going to be our complete source of business. So that's what we did. We hit online leads, and from there, it went nuts. We closed a lot of deals. We needed help. We built a team. It all started there at the end of 2012 into 2013.
Right.
And that part, the rest is history. It's been amazing to create other livelihoods while servicing buyers and sellers.
Sure.
That's a little bit of our journey and how we created that team. Yeah.
Yeah. Because your team's really interesting and very unique, because it runs now overnight. It kind of runs on its own with just a little guidance from, it's not as much as you and Rodney in the business as working on the business now, correct?
Yes, that's true. We've got some great leaders. We've got Ryan Isengay and Nate Van Pelt, who are our top producers, and they've been with us for years. I want to say Nate's been with us since 2013, and we knew him before we went to South Carolina. So he's actually been around since about 2008, I think, 2009. So just, good friends along with being business partners. And then Ryan Isengay has been with us since 2014. So they're pretty much our leaders, along with our great executive administrator, which is Diana Hartz. And those three lead the way. And then we can easily, like you said, it's a well-oiled machine. And yeah, it did happen overnight.
They all do, don't they?
Out, with some great coaches. When we became an independent brokerage in 2015, we sought some serious coaching, and Bob Corcoran and his team were the ones that kind of guided us to make sure that we were starting on the right foot. And it was all about implementing processes and systems, right? It was a lot of work. I wore a million hats. Rodney stayed on the listing side, and it was just something that we've put in the time in now with all those processes and systems. And a big thing for us was coming to eXp. That leverage, those systems and processes made what we had already built even easier to plug new agents into. And I know without our move to eXp, I would still be in the business, in the operations, in the day-to-day, training day-to-day tasks with agents. And with eXp, a lot of that's done for you. It's put in place. You can plug people in. They do the onboarding, right? They do the accounting. They have the IT department. I could training. I mean, it's just insane. So that was my big aha, was wow, all this that we've built, blood, sweat, and tears. Now I can switch over here. And my hope at the time when we came over was that I could be leveraged a lot sooner than later.
Sure. And let's talk about that, because when you guys came back, you went with FC Tucker Company, who's a large independent here in Indianapolis. You moved over to Keller Williams not too far after that, but mainly probably for opportunity and cost savings, a significant cost savings. Because it's about the bottom line, not about the top line, and it's not about being in the newspaper. It's about keeping the bank happy. And then you guys left Keller Williams and went independent. So you guys at that time had it all. I mean, you had the sales, the listings, you had everything and all the money. And then you looked at eXp, and tell us kind of how that transformation happened there, because that's pretty interesting when I hear you tell that part of the story. So tell us about that transformation from independence to eXp.
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
Absolutely. It wasn't easy, because the first, like you're saying, wow, that's interesting. Why would you had all the money coming into you had everything in place.
Sure.
Why? And it was a no for a while, until we got out of our own way and realized that the financial piece was basically aligned, and even more so with the opportunity, right? So me as an independent broker, could only grow as much as our local market, right? Our reach was only local, unless we were going to go out and to another state, find someone to be a managing broker, find a brick and mortar at that time. And mind you, this was just, 2015. We came over to eXp in 2018. So we're talking 3 years ago. And now, even when I hear myself saying that, it sounds so antiquated. Like, a brick and mortar, which many people still enjoy. And I mean, we even have an office, but to expand your business at a low cost and quickly, that as an independent broker was very tough to do. Even some franchise owners I know that, I'm good friends with, it's tough as well. So the draw to eXp was the opportunity, right?
Right.
It was the reach at that time was national. There was the promise of being global, which we currently are.
Sure.
That itself just made me pause and think, okay, so, my original, selfishly me, not including Rodney's vision, but mine was I love to coach and train and lift people up and see them grow their business. That's kind of my thing.
Sure.
I kept thinking, I'm going to be able to reach so many more people, right? Hundreds of agents as opposed to, 10, 20, 30, 40, hundreds and hundreds, eventually thousands, right? So that's where it got me excited and gave me a new kind of energy about real estate because the reach was so extensive. That was one big thing. And then that aligned with the monetary piece, right? Because if that's the case, then I'm bringing in agents. So now my local reach that, is 1 or 2 agents here or there. Yes, I can recruit, but how much of the market can I get? When I can focus on other cities and other markets, then I know, okay, well, that monetary piece is going to make up because here I'm capped. If I can extend that, then I'm not as capped. And then who do they know, right? So that opportunity right there for me was one I narrowed in on, and then the leverage for me were the big thing. Yeah. So time freedom would allow me to grow quicker, right? And to grow others as opposed to being stuck in the operations piece that really wasn't anything I wasn't a natural at. I got it done and I was good at it, but that's not my natural personality and my natural draw. So that wasn't necessarily a happy place for me all the time.
Understood.
So I remember saying to Rodney, hey, you know what? This is the only way I'm ever going to be leveraged quickly and that we could grow at the same time was to match up and align that with the opportunity at eXp because of the ownership, right? So the ownership piece then rolled into that. So it was really just us. We were so kind of dim at first. We weren't getting it. So once we sat down and kind of connected those dots and aligned it to see that Glenn had really thought all that through, right? And had thought it through that, okay, if I provide ownership, I will create a culture of collaboration and growth and interest all being the same to see eXp grow, grow, and grow, then those owners will grow the company, right? So, okay, it just took us a minute to get that. And then with all of us having the same interest, just like we're connected to you as a business partner, I'm not your competition. I'm, in a previous world, we were, right? We would walk into Keller Williams together and, oh, hey, you're my competition.
How you doing? Let me get my papers here real quick. So you.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I think once you kind of sit down, take it seriously and can think it through, for each person, that opportunity is different, but those were some of my big pieces. So then the monetary piece kind of just floated away because I saw so much more opportunity, and Rodney did too, coming to eXp than we could provide ourselves and our agents. I mean, we could have never offered an opportunity this big to our agents. So that to me was, a big piece of it as well. I wanted to see them grow. I wanted the best for them. I still do. And, kind of shoving this in front of them and including them on the decision and participating was something that they jumped right on. And I think they even saw it quicker than we did because we were thinking, how can we let go of this independent brokerage? Our pride and ego were like, front seat.
Yeah. Well, in some of your buyer's agents have done some really interesting things with the eXp opportunity as well. I don't want to mess it up, so I'll let you tell just a couple of quick stories of what they told you. what they've shared with you in just these couple of short years.
Yeah.
How it's changed their lives.
Oh, big time. Yeah, in just 3 years. And, you know, a lot of them have been with us for several years, you know, 5+, 4+, 7+.
Which is amazing.
So, you know, it is. And it's just attribute it to our culture and how everyone is invested in each other.
Sure.
You know, we had that culture prior to coming to eXp, and then eXp doubled down on that with ownership, right? So it was like, boom, now they're an owner just like us. That just instantly doubles down on that bond that you have together.
Yeah.
But yeah, our guys have, since coming to eXp, have not only been able to make passive income, right, and pay off mortgages or buy new homes. You know, they're getting married and having kids too, which is insane. Or buying cars, whatever is important to them. They each have their own story, and it would blow most of you away just to see the growth that they've had as men, as husbands, as fathers. So that to me is something that I know it would have never happened this quick if we weren't with eXp, and they feel that too. So they want to share it. We all just want to share it passionately because we know how impactful it's been in our lives. Well, we've got another buyer agent who has rolled out to be an individual agent. So the very cool opportunity that we didn't see at first, I mean, we saw it, we knew the idea of it, but it's all kind of come to light, and new doors open that you didn't even know were there, right? You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Right? And eXp drives you as an individual, no matter what your path is and where you want to be. You're just kind of driven to think bigger because you see new opportunities that you've never even been able to consider before, right? Wouldn't you agree? I feel like that.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like you didn't even, it never crossed your mind, and then you see it and you're like, oh, wow, what else am I missing?
Yeah, and then you're like, wait, why didn't I think of that, right?
That's really clever.
So that's where a couple of our guys have been able to roll out. They're still on our referral team, right? So they've gone out, then they're able to icon completely, take advantage of getting all the stock. You still get stock being on a team, but as a individual agent, you have the ability to get your entire cat back in stock. So that was something that a few of them were looking forward to. Were able to keep their production going and still assist with that. So that's been something that is very, you know, I think most people, when you have a team member and they leave, you think, darn, I spent a lot of time, effort, and energy on them, and now they just took everything and left, right?
Yeah, totally.
eXp takes that away. You're still interested in their growth, your owners together. So I love that for the buyer agents that have been able to roll out and do that. And one of them is actually onboarding an agent in Spain. So we're going global. I keep teasing him,
which is amazing.
You've gone global, right?
Yeah.
So that's exciting. And that's, again, another opportunity that, do you think as an independent broker, I was sitting there thinking, I could go global? Yeah. I mean, that's just an example of where your mind starts to go because the opportunity, that door is opened.
Yeah, it would never cross your mind. You know, I have a friend of mine who's been a buddy of mine for a few years, and he's still independent. And some of his stiffest competition are the people who used to work for him. You know, they are now, you know, they fled, you know, they left the nest, and now they're, you know, now he shows up at listing appointments, and they're, you know, they're in a smaller community, and it's, you know, as you know, as you close that circle down, that number gets pretty tight. And yeah, he runs into them all the time. Well, okay. Yeah. You know, I mean, at some point, you step into a door enough times, you'll realize that you need to maybe use the handle instead of your forehead.
Yeah, it's not going to do that. No, you're absolutely right. And that's where I think, you know, it's something that you have to stop. You have to do things differently in order to grow and do different things, right?
Oh, so totally.
That's where, you know, if you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling stuck, that's where you have to just sit down and take a moment and think, what can I do differently? And change isn't always fun, right? But without change, you're not going to grow. And that's just where I feel like eXp has so much to offer. And you know, you guys you've been with us pretty much close since the beginning. Yeah. So that's something, you know, you saw that opportunity as well.
Yeah, it was, it's funny because I remember I just saw it on Facebook and it said, you guys launched, and I just put congrats. And like 2 minutes later, Roddy's on the phone with me going, we're going out of town in a couple of days, and you got to see us before we leave. You don't have to. He didn't even really tell me anything more than to say, you just got to see this. It's that amazing. And I'm like, well, if you said it's that amazing, and considering we had just had lunch a month ago and he didn't say a peep to me that anything was going on, which is great. I'm like, okay. So I said, well, I was reluctant to ask my wife, as you well know, because she's always like, you're always looking for a shiny new object. And I've since stopped that practice since we've come to eXp. But, I told her, and we sat down and we had breakfast that day, and you guys left. And then a couple of days later, we met with Jason and Jeff, and we walked out. I was real quiet, and my wife looked at me and said, "This is it. We're home. We have new business partners, and we couldn't be more excited." And you're right. We just jumped in the pool. We're just like, and we weren't even looking. I mean, it just showed up like. Yeah. It wasn't like we were like, oh, we're disgruntled, we're unhappy. We were quite honestly, very happy where we were. But when you talk about the collaboration, it's fantastic because under normal circumstances, we go to lunch or, skip some ideas across the table to each other or whatever, but never like it is today. And it's truly a rising tide takes us all up at the same time. And it's just been fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that tells you kind of a little bit. So how do you see it going forward? Because I know you guys came to eXp with a little bit of a timeline plan, if I'm not mistaken. True. And I don't know if that's been adjusted or not since you've gotten here, but maybe tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when we initially came, and I'll backtrack for a second. So yeah, kind of at the end, I had to twist Rodney's arm just a little bit and pull him over. And I think his fear, was based on, nobody's going to know who that is. And we built our name and, yada, yada, yada. It was just that fear, right? And sure. What I think, I love the people that can just jump in through the fear, because I feel like those are the people, and we were slow to do that. It took us about 8 months. I feel like you guys made your decision a little quicker than we did. We had done some of the homework clearly, and we had the CEO in front of you along with Jeff Willems.
Yeah.
And what CEO comes to town, right? That was awesome. But I love that you guys jumped in knowing it was low risk, high reward, right? Yeah. And you were happy. It wasn't like you were out looking. So when you saw that opportunity, you guys were like, yes, we are in. And I love that, because I feel like you just take it, you run with it, and you're just waiting for the next progressive thing to come our way. And it happens all the time here at eXp. So
kind of like magic.
Yeah, it's insane. It is. Timeline for us was 5 years. Rodney had said, well, we'll give it 6 months and let's see what happens. But in my mind, I'm like, I could be leveraged within 5 years. I could be, making this. And I had set all my goals along then talking to him, what are our goals, right?
Right.
But leverage was my big thing.
Sure.
I just had to get that some way, somehow. Well, fast forward from 2018 to, it was less than 2 years later that I am already able to plug people in easier. I'm already, we saved money along the way too with the platforms and systems that eXp offers. But more importantly, being able to take someone and have help onboarding, have help with your transaction coordination, have help with the accounting. So all of that just started getting wiped off my plate, and I just was getting more excited. So it was less than 2 years in for the leverage. It was less than 2 years in that our lives were significantly financially changed. And it was less than 2 years that the growth, just looking back at how fast we were able to grow our group of agents, our business partners, our team partners, we would have never been able to do that on an independent scale. So just to give you a comparison with our independent piece, it's something that I always wanted to do. And I knew we could save a lot of money because we paid Remax, FC Tucker along the way, Keller Williams, hundreds of thousands of dollars with, them not really providing any leads. So it was painful. So I knew that was our decision. But, you know, back then, 2015, when we started our independent brokerage, I had a 10-year, 15, 20-year plan.
Sure.
And that at the time seemed reasonable. I was excited about that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I was like, this is solid. And then going to eXp, I'm like, okay, well, I've got help now. I've got platforms and systems. I can shorten this to like, let's give it 5 years. I'm all in. And then less than 2. So I look so forward to what I don't even know yet myself, and where we are going to be at the 5-year mark. You know, we've got a lot of growth plans and helping others, just like you and our other business partners, to help them grow, whatever that means too, right? Some people want a team, some people just need an assistant, some people just want to network around the country and get to know other agents. So I just look so forward to that and where we'll be at that original 5-year mark when it comes around. So yeah. We're going global, you know, how global can we go?
Yeah, because, you know, where you once were like, maybe I'll get somebody on the south side of town or the west side of town, or, you know, once upon a time, I thought, man, it'd be cool to have somebody east, west, and south, and I'm up on the north, so we could kind of service the area. Now I'm like, well, maybe there'd be north, south, and east and west all over everywhere. You know, it doesn't matter. I mean, whether it's India or Italy or Spain or Mexico or any number of places that we are, and it just keeps growing and growing. And you're right. You know, it's so amazing. I would have never imagined it when we started, we would be here today. I can't wait to see what tomorrow's like.
I know. And that's what
don't even know, but I know it's going to be amazing.
Yes. Yeah. And that, I think, you know, was it Gene, Frederick, or Brent Go? Which one of them always says, you know, it's making real estate fun again. And that's it right there for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I will tell you, you know, when we came here, we were, you know, we had come out of a decade of REO work. We had come out of, you know, doing a lot of things, and we were just kind of, well, let's see what's going to be. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, it can be so much more than I had even thought about, or even, I didn't even think in terms like this.
Yeah.
So, and it's been amazing to be in business with you guys, you know, and to watch you guys just keep growing and growing, and, you know, and you talk about the leverage. So, and one thing that you kind of touched on it, but you guys spend about 6 months up here and then about 6 months in Florida, because you are able to leverage your time and eXp on a bigger scale, correct?
Yes.
So that's kind of interesting that you get to duck out of all the good weather that we have here in January, February, and March.
Well, that was the plan, right? So yeah, that too. I mean, without eXp, that would never even be possible at this point in our lives, due to having an independent brokerage, you know, or if it were, it would have us been just paying people that wouldn't have maybe come in and have been to culture exactly. We would have sacrificed on what we had built in order to just get up and leave, right?
Sure.
Because it wasn't in place. And then yes, that leverage created that snowbird. It's so funny. I was getting my nails done in Florida, and there was this cute little girl, and she's like, "Are you a winter bird?" And I was like, "Snowbird, yes." And so now in my head, I call it a winter bird.
Nice.
But that would have never been possible without jumping into eXp. I mean, it just wouldn't have. And embracing the technology immediately. That was the thing I was looking forward to, was how can I be leveraged and embracing all that technology immediately. So I put that on the fast track, and, you know, Rodney at the time was like, hey, let's just go jump in and get a condo. This was as we were saying no to eXp. We bought our first condo in Florida. I want to say it was 2018. And that, you know, I'm in my 40s with a second home, and I'm like, this is crazy. And then it was double down, quadruple down with eXp, and has since become, you know, about 6 months of our life where, you know, we were virtual when coming to eXp, and it just taught us that, hey, you can work from anywhere. You can still be a leader, have a presence, and have culture virtually. And that was all, that was before COVID. So then COVID basically even kind of presented another opportunity, because then others started accepting doing business like that, right? So that kind of even opened it up more. And yeah, we're at about 6 months every year. We're based out of Florida. Now, we did get licensed there and do handle some referrals, and we're building a local team there as well. So we'll have a local Southwest Florida team, and we have the local Indy team as far as our immediate teams. And then, we're checking off states. We're probably in 12 or 13 states now, and looking to check the rest of the list off, right? And then, and also going global, we'll check those off too, I guess. But yeah, that's something that brings joy to my heart. I wish that my parents were still here to experience that with us. But I feel like, they showed me to live while you're alive and not just have that mentality of work, retire. And then they weren't healthy, right? Because that is what they did. My dad was great at living in the moment. He had all kinds of hobbies that were very expensive and we traveled a lot. I was definitely spoiled with that, but they still, once got to retirement age, their health just wasn't there. And so they've taught me lessons during life, and then, kind of looking at it with that retirement date life, and then you're not healthy enough to enjoy it. So I think Rodney and I got that message, and we are living in the now, working hard and lifting others in the now. And then there's no retirement, right? We'll be actively participating with others and their lives until, I don't even know if you can stop me. Yeah. I'll have to be in the ground.
Well, and if it's still fun, why would you stop? That's, right. I have a friend of mine, out in Phoenix, a good friend of ours that is approaching his mid 70s now. And, he really didn't hit his stride till about 55. Nice. He did okay, but then he hit his stride, and he's like, what, I'm having the time of my life doing this. That's awesome. He does some coaching like he's like, hey, I have all this, I just want to open this up and let it go. And he's having the time of his life. He doesn't need the money. He's all's just well, but he's just like, why would I stop? What am I going to do?
Yeah, I love it.
That's fantastic.
What do you do with your time?
Yeah, we still have the little ones. So, fathoming free time is just, free time is in increments, little ones, like hours. Yeah,
milliseconds.
A couple times a year it becomes a day or two. But yeah, so anyway, but that's fantastic. So, so in coming to eXp, it was what you could do for others first, because the servant's heart that you have, and wanting to coach on a bigger scale, because you and Rodney have literally sold thousands and thousands of houses. I couldn't even guess the volume total enough. We'll just say that. And you're just so giving. Why we love being in business with you more than anything is, there's never a time that it's like, oh, we don't have time for you, or we're so busy, or we're so this, or we're so that. You guys are always there and willing to help and reach out, and really for the whole organization. And that's the leadership that, you just probably are not going to get in every office, would be my first guess. Well, let's just say it's not a guess, it's a fact.
Yeah. But it was rare. And that's what we look to partner with people like you, right? It's that mindset of everyone wanting to grow, and it just feels so good, right? Everybody wants to be part of a tribe, and that's what I feel with you all, and all of our partners. So I appreciate you saying that, but that for me was the drive. Yeah,
that's awesome. So if you can look into the crystal ball, which you already kind of did, and advance the time, but where do you see yourselves, or the organization or your teams kind of going forward, just in very general terms?
Yeah, absolutely. So clearly basing a team in Florida and in Indy. As far as our entire organization is concerned, I'm looking to help each of you grow now, right?
Sure.
And connect with other agents. eXp is a little bit more commonly heard of now. When we came over, we were just under 10,000, as you all were too. We were under 10,000 agents. Now we're over 55,000. Yeah. And in my mind, it's sharing it with as many people as we can. And now that it has a little bit of momentum to everyone else, so they really understand what the opportunity is. It's the new way to own a business. It's a new way to own a real estate business, right? And it is an amazing way to collaborate and network. And the other piece that I feel like, and we touched on it, both you and I, about you don't know what you don't know yet, is the fact that I can think big today, but I will be thinking bigger next month.
Yeah.
And that is where our vision continually changes and shifts, right? So that reach to more agents and lifting agents up is a way to do business. So even if I can touch people outside of the business and explain to them that, you know, we can all be in this together. I think for years, a lot of us wanted to be in business together, but how do you do it, right? Like, how do you do it? Well, eXp has that answer. So for me, it's just, let's get out there, share it with everyone, and build such a strong company and grow it to the level where, you know, it is just the way that real estate businesses are ran, to change the industry completely.
Oh, totally. I mean, it's, you know, when you hear it at first, it's different. You're like, oh, okay, everybody's different. No, it's really different. It's not like anything I had ever seen before, and I had seen quite a few things along the way, as you guys had as well.
Yeah.
And your experiences through large independents, being independent, you know, with the bigs, FEMAX, KW, et cetera. You know, you get it. You know, and our paths are very similar in that way. But it's what you don't know, and that's what's so exciting about it. It's like, I don't know what I'm going to learn next month or 2 months or 3 months, but I bet it's pretty good.
Well, you know, there's going to be a new opportunity, right? And that's what I think Glenn Sanford and our board of directors, I think they're so amazing at, one, getting the agents' opinions, because we're all owners, right? But then taking that and providing opportunities, providing healthcare, right? Providing that wholesale piece where, you know, we're able to submit offers and have that direct relationship with those institutional buyers, not having that third party in between us. They're great at figuring out how to keep the agent at the forefront, that agent owner. So there's always going to be a different opportunity and a different way to look at it. And I think, you know, kind of makes me think too, the biggest thing is staying open-minded and seeing those opportunities and walking through that door. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's funny, you know, because we haven't really touched on this, but the one thing that, you know, what I see that Glenn, he saw all those things, but then when he said, hey, instead of paying a little extra, why don't we make it to where you can pay yourself first, right there at closing? You know, you got that option to take advantage of that stock, which is, it's amazing. You know, the genius of the whole organization it never ceases to amaze me. But that piece right there that we didn't touch on, you know, I'm sure for your teams and for yourselves, is just something that at first you hear about it and you're like, what could 5% possibly add up to?
I won't miss it. At first it was like, oh, I won't miss it. And you don't, because it literally is 5% of your net commission check, and you don't miss it.
Yeah, you're used to it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're like, it's a great idea, because as a realtor, a lot of us in the past, you know, hadn't saved a dime.
Sure.
You might have, you know, a self-directed IRA if you were well versed and been in the business for a while. You know, you were starting to do those type of things. But that, for an agent day one, to be able to invest 5% into a type of, if you want to call it a retirement fund, right? You can look at it like that, like a 401k. Yeah, that was unheard of. And that was a little foreign, right, at the time. So I was like, yeah, we won't miss it. Let's throw it in there. And then since has been, not just for us, for you guys, a lot of our business partners, you know, it had split. So we were all buying in at what, like $3, $4, $6, $7?
Yeah.
Share. So
crazy low.
Yeah. And to see where that went up to, I think what was it at its highest, 163, 165, and then split.
Yeah.
That's wealth. That's something in life that you want to do, is create wealth and have significant wealth. And when a company, just by being an owner and being able to opt into additional ownership, right? That's unheard of, and it's very unselfish. And now everyone calls Glenn a genius. And I think we even said back then, this is genius, right? But we weren't necessarily like, he's a genius. Now you hear people like Grant Cardone saying, Glenn Sanford's a genius, right? And they want to do business like this. So that's where, when you're financially aligned, and you will hear our other business partners talk about this, when we're all financially aligned and the company as a whole is financially aligned, then that growth can be just exponential. Yeah. And that, you're right, that was kind of just we won't miss that, throw that in the pot. That wasn't even, I couldn't think that big.
Yeah, wasn't even a selling feature. Like, it was just like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. And now it's like, oh yeah, it's past kind of cool now.
Yeah, exactly. That's freaking cool. Like, let me look at my balance. Cool, right?
Yeah. I might want to look at that more than once a year now.
Yeah. I have to tell you this story. So I had more than a few agents in our organization call me. So when the stock was going up and up, this was what, summer of 2020 into fall, winter, right?
Sure.
So I had agents that were brand new to the industry that had been in maybe 2 years-ish, 1 year, a couple of them. And they were like, hey, texting me, hey, I think I have stock, but I don't know. Do you know if I have stock? And I was like, did you opt in? I'm like, I know you've closed deals. So, we're going back and forth, and they didn't even know where to go in and look into their ShareWorks account, which eXp provides a transparent report of everything that you have purchased and everything that you have been awarded. They didn't even know how to get there. And some of these kids and adults, I don't mean kids, adults had 20, 30 more thousand than that. And just couldn't believe it. They were blown away, right? And that's significant when you're in your 20s and your 30s and you're already seeing a company award you like that. That's significant. And then you're only going to want more in life, right? So
sure,
it's so impactful. Yeah.
And it's I get a kick out of it with our organization as well. Because somebody will say, hey, I took a vacation, I had one of our business partners take a 2-week vacation for the first time ever.
Oh my gosh.
She had never had the freedom because she came from the corporate world, and she was with a small independent, so on and so forth. And she literally took 2 weeks off, and when she came back, guess what? She was still closing deals and selling houses, and minus the physical part of opening the door, which she found somebody within the group to just kind of, hey, I'm here to help. We're all here to help. That was fantastic. I got another guy's buying a car for the first time, and he's like, I would have never, I used to sweat car repairs, and now I just look down and I'm just going to go pay cash for a car. Not because it's a wise decision, because I would tell you to, talk to your accountant, so on and so forth, but that's a level of comfort for him. And that's just, those kind of stories are fantastic. And like you said, I think a lot of people had no idea how much they had or what it was even worth. I can honestly say I didn't really pay very close attention to it. My wife kind of pays. She's a far more detailed person than I am, as you well know. And
thank goodness for that, right?
Amen. That's how lights are on. That's how food's in the cabin. All those good things that good thing oxygen's aplenty and you don't have to look for it.
True.
But with that said, she's like, hey, have you looked at this lately? And I'm like, no. She's like, we might want to look at this. Because and I just think about, and we didn't know what you don't know, but I look back, and I'm not going to be specific, but I'll just say everybody else's fees that I paid for 25 years just to have no interest, no stock gain, just to have that money back for the privilege of flying the flag.
That's a great way to look at it. I love that.
It'd be okay.
Yeah.
And God forbid if it were eXp stock, then it would be lights out. It would be game over. For this kid, that would be game over.
I love that.
Well, hey, I know you're super busy. I've probably occupied a little bit more of your time than I probably deserve, but I'm very happy that you took the time to visit with us today. Any final thoughts before we kind of wrap it up today?
Well, I would just say it's been a journey. It's been an amazing journey, but from 96 to about 2015, and then fast forward to 2018, it was a very long journey. It had ups and downs. And by partnering with a company and business partners like yourself, since 2018, it's been nowhere but up. And that's, and it's the piece of being able to help others and that ownership that we have in common. So, just think about that, guys, even if you're happy where you are. I mean, I was happy I had independent brokerage. Leverage was my problem. eXp solved that, right? So you don't have to be unhappy. You might just have some growth that you want. So just take it seriously, look at it, see if it's a fit. And I know it's a fit for everyone. It's just a matter of getting your mind around it, because it is so different. And when Camporelli and the herds in the same market are no longer competition, that's eye-opening to me. And that was the thing that I didn't quite get in the beginning. You were never going to come work for my independent brokerage.
Probably not.
Right? Because I couldn't offer you this, right?
No.
But when you saw the opportunity, you're like, all right, we're in. So that's the other piece I always like to bring attention to is there's enough business for everyone. There's enough growth for everyone. But if we can all align together, and that has to clearly be financially too, right? It has to make sense for everyone. Then we're no longer competition, and we can change this industry. We can change it together as owners and not be paying another owner to, get rich and fill their pockets. We can all do this together. So just give that a little thought. And Chris, you and Liz have been amazing business partners. And like I said, there from the beginning, we can always count on you guys and your support. And it's something too that we love to see, you growing. You guys have grown so much with your organization. So it just layers in, and it just gets so fascinating.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And thank you for the kind words. It's just, it is amazing. And it's just fascinating to me where we were, not even thinking about it. And then this door opens, and just this abundance of opportunity that is just, it's there. Whatever you want to do with it. Just like you said, you want to build a team, go build a team. You want to build an organization, build an organization. You want to just be a single agent that goes out and kicks some ass and sells a bunch of real estate, go do it. It's all there for you. You want to move, you want to be in 3 states under the same license, under the same brokerage, go do it. It's one cap, as our friend Jay likes to say, it's one big fire, and it's exciting out there. Again, Amanda, thank you so much. As we like to say, if you knew what eXp Realty could do for you, you'd already be here. And I think today would be a vivid example of what you may or may not know and how it could be a benefit to you. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in today. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Amanda, thank you again.
You're welcome.
You and Rodney are fantastic leaders, and we love being in business with you and growing. And we look forward to keep on trucking, and we'll maybe in a couple of years do a remember when.
Right? Yeah, we'll be looking back at this going, I couldn't think this big.
Yeah,
And
I wasn't thinking like I could have been thinking.
I love it.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda.